Hey, what is going on, crypto people? Happy Generational Wealth Wednesday, each and every one of you. Yeah, gonna do a little G Wealth Wednesday today, Generational Wealth Wednesday with you guys tonight. Really excited about it. All things considered, we got the Meld Gold, we got the Phi wallet, PHI wallet, both on the XRPL. I thought it interesting to have this conversation. I thought it would be interesting to have this convo. So let's get into it for sure. Let's talk about that and see what it is ultimately going to look like. And I swear, I feel like I keep seeing something and I can't find it. Yeah, so we're going to get into that. We're going to talk about that a little bit for sure. It's just a really interesting time. XRPL Apex 2024 was interesting, right? Some interesting stuff, some great news coming for the XRPL. Great stuff coming for the XRPL. I can get into that. Oh, wait a minute. I got to do something for my podcasters, okay? So you guys are going to see me talking, but not hear me talking. Just 1 second. All right, guys. So thanks for wait a minute. Hold on a second. With you guys. All right, guys. So thank you so much for that. Listen, I had to do that real quick for the podcasters. JRL Quarter is in the building. How are you, Mike? I appreciate you being here. Look, Generational Wealth Wednesday, considering the announcements that we heard at the XRPL Apex 2024 in Amsterdam, I can't wait to get to one of those. Can't wait to get to one of those. Probably next year we'll head out there and just hang out, but considering there was two entities that were announced that I found to be interesting, both related to gold, right? So I thought, and then I watched a video today from Bankless talking about a book called The Great Taking. They had a guy on there, very smart guy, and he referenced the book, and so did Ryan as well. But he mentioned something. We're going to look up this together. He mentioned that there was something public knowledge, public knowledge, something called the Financial Accounting Manual for Federal Reserve Banks. And he mentioned in there how the Department of Treasury can mandate the Federal Reserve, and there's some mandate to reprice the value of gold, that they actually have the ability to revalue its gold. If given the order from the Department of Treasury. That I found to be very fascinating, JR. So we're going to get into that. We're going to get into the book, The Great Taking. There's a YouTube video, which is a kind of like a documentary about this as well. But again, I thought it would be kind of interesting and fun considering the two gold announcements coming to the XRPL. And also in the Bankless video, this guy here is Luke something. I can't remember his name, but it's Luke. This dude is really smart. Luke is the author and investor who gives us completely. So his name is Luke Groman. I've seen him on a lot of digital asset channels, right? Seen him on a lot of those channels. But boy, he says some very, 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 very powerful stuff. And so we're going to get into that. The Great Taking. I already ordered that thing. I ordered that thing today. I download the PDF version of it. I'm going to watch the documentary for sure. Documentary is about an hour and 10 minutes long. I'm going to watch that as well. When you throw in, the kind of the debt, and as crazy as it is, not payable, you have to consider things like possibly the Treasury sending word to the Federal Reserve here in the States to that and mandate that they revalue. Look, we're going to revalue our gold. We're going to revalue it. We're going to make it 10 times more valuable. We're going to make it 20 times more valuable. And if you do that, they would actually get themselves out of the hole. Hopefully I can find the right place in this video that he shares that. But I thought that was very, very interesting. And then I think, JR, doesn't that go right in line with, certain other countries in this massive spending spree to buy gold? Doesn't it kind of make sense? And of course, we're hearing the rumors of the BRICS nations, all of them in major gold accumulation mode. And here's the thing that I would say also that I think is interesting. Like, I feel like there's very little to zero chance that 75, 80% of the major powers know what the other one is going to be doing. Do you understand? Like, I feel like there's an 80% chance that I'm just going to use the BRICS nations as an example. There's an 80% chance that India knows what the states are doing. There's an 80% chance that, I don't want to say any name that I don't want to. Brazil knows what the U.S. is doing. U.S. is doing. You see what I'm saying? In the whole intelligence world in 2024, I mean, how much can they really keep from us and us keep from them? Really? You know what I mean? In 2024, how much can we really keep from one another? And it's not like gold accumulation or the planning of revaluing gold is it ain't it's not a wartime secret or anything like that. You know what I mean? We're not giving away, secrets like that. So it's not a diabolical plan. It's a way to kind of reset the debt, right? It's a way to reset the debt. So we're going to get into it. Alex Eats in the building. Have you heard of the book, The Great Taking, brother? The Great Taking. I'm telling you, yeah, interesting. We're going to get into it. We're going to get into this video from Bankless as well. Are you just, what is that in? Oh, I don't know. What is that? What is that N9, bro? What's that? Let me know. So yeah, and this guy Lee, I'm going to share this video from him as well. Oh no, is interesting. So we're going to get into. I can't wait to talk about that. The market is doing what it does. So that the market was not happy with Jerome Powell's stuff. I don't know. Is that the word? Nothing's changing. They're just staying with what they are. They're not raising, not cutting. How many feel like, if push comes to shove and things go to hooly and go to crap, I have enough gold and I have enough Bitcoin? How many feel like, if it gets bad out here, I have enough gold and I have enough Bitcoin? How many feel that way? Oh, you're driving. Be careful, bro. Alex Eats on the road. Be careful, brother. I appreciate you checking in. So, you probably want to ask yourself that. What do I want to do here? I'm gonna go to history. I started looking into my likes are now private. Awesome. I started looking into the states, the amount of states. I had heard this from Jimmy Valet. And I started looking into the amount of the number of US states that are making gold and silver coins like legal tender, and which would also make them, you rid yourself of capital gains and you could spend it like you could spend something else. Gold and silver. I'm trying to see if I think it was up to 25 or 28 states. Although what's his name? Jimmy Valet said he thought it was it was as high as 40 states. JR, what do you think about that? The states kind of, it seems very quiet, like sneaky, making that happen. I'm going to try to find it here for you guys, but I know I pulled it up. I know I can probably just Google it. Like how many states have made gold and silver legal tender? You know what? Why don't I just do that? Because this is taking way too long. Yeah, we'll check it out together. We'll check that out together. We can check that out together. Let's get rid of that. At a stoplight. Not enough crypto, right? So, like, it's this interesting thing. Do you feel like you got enough gold and crypto? Alex, we say on the channel all the time, maybe we need to get back to the 2016, 15, 17 days where the mantra on every YouTube channel, everyone was, we're in these altcoins because they give us a better return, and we can take those returns and increase the amount of Bitcoin that we have. Yeah. I talk about that, getting back to those days, until we have a better sense, not that we get rid of all the crypto, but, dispersing of 65, 75, 85, 90%, and turning it into stables, waiting for Bitcoin to retrace, and then getting more Bitcoin, still leaving 5, 10, still leaving 10 to 35% in altcoins that you believe are going to do some stuff long term. You feel like the protocol is going to be doing some stuff long term, that type of stuff like that. So it's interesting. All right. So where do I want to start? Let's start with this. Let's Google a couple of things together. Why don't we just Google some stuff together? So I'm going to Google how many states have made gold and silver legal tender. Let's do that. Oh, it is right there. Search feature comes up. 23 states moved to recognize gold and silver. All right, so let's share that real quick. Here it is right here, JR. Alex, keep your eyes on the road, bro. So that's right here. 23 U.S. states moved to recognize gold and silver. With the Arkansas Legal Tender Act of 2023, Legal Tender Act, 23 U.S. states have now moved to recognize gold and silver as legal tender. Sarah Huckabee Sanders, Arkansas governor, signed the act on April the 11th, specifically mentioning that all forms of gold and silver may be used to pay off debts. This is May of 2023. Gold and silver may be used to pay off debts. In 2023. Isn't that interesting? That is interesting to me. Yeah, it really is. Now, I don't have to go through all the states, but is your state on the list? Let me see if I can't pull something up here. With the Arkansas, okay, I read that all of that, right? Beyond these four areas, 23 United States are currently developing bills and regulations to allow citizens to use silver and gold as legal tender. I get it. A lot of the gold stuff, got gold people want to put that up and let you know you need to be getting some gold, but it's interesting. Jimmy Valley had mentioned it as well, which I thought was interesting. All right, so the U.S. dollar has been a virtually limitless currency across the globe for nearly a century. By the end of 2022, the U.S. dollar made up over half of the world's reserve, 58% to be exact. The next most prominent currency is the euro, rang at 20, rang up in 20%. So it's interesting. So 23 states. This one here, World Population Review, gold and silver legal tender states. It lists them. What's the impact of accepting gold and silver as legal tenders? It says several states have done it. It's got Utah, Louisiana, West Virginia, Arizona, Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas is in the building, Indiana, Missouri, South Carolina, Tennessee, Wyoming. Um, but I remember watching an interview with Jimmy Valley, and he had mentioned that. So, why do I bring that up? Why do I bring that up? Because of these recent announcements at the XRPL Apex. We got the fee wallet. Interesting, the timing of that. Let me see if I can't pull it up. Got the fee wallet, PHI wallet. That's interesting. Oh man, come on. Don't tell me we got some internet stuff going on now. That's interesting. Got the fee wallet. So that's not it. Where's my thing at? Ready, Wrath Economy. Make it fresh. Dang it. Let's see, is it over here? No, let's make it be fresh. But yeah, a couple of announcements. Mel Gold was on the stage at Apex. And Fee Wallet, well, no, Fee Wallet was doing the CEO from Fee Wallet was on the stage at Apex. So let me see if I can't pull that up. My internet is just brutal right now. Is it Fi? Is it Fi? Is it Fi Wallet? It might be Fi Wallet. It might be Fi Wallet. It's right here. In the past, buying gold came with many challenges, verifying its authenticity, worrying about storage, dealing with high commission, and navigating the complexities of buying and selling. These difficulties were even greater if you wanted to do it in a halal way. Don't even know what that is. Today, our CEO, Eslam Ambar, showcased at the XRPL Apex how Fee Wallet is leveraging blockchain technology to make the world's #1 safe haven asset simpler, more accessible, and more inclusive than ever before. This is just one. I'm going to get into Mel Gold as well. But first, I want to have you guys listen to this guy, Luke Roman. This guy's really, really, really smart. He's being interviewed on the Bankless channel. On Bankless. So let's take a listen to this thing here that he points out that is in the financial accounting manual for the Federal Reserve banks. And we can probably look that up as well.
Balance sheet, 261 million ounces every 4,000 bucks is about $1 trillion mechanically dropped into the Treasury General account, free and clear, no debt offsetting it.
Hold on.
20 pensions to buy more treasuries. And they did. So you've seen all of this happen, and this is just stuff that like Brazil and Argentina and various emerging market, Latin American, Asian, Southeast Asian, and
it's coming. Hold on.
Countries do when they have fiscal problems, and it's not been enough, to your point. And so ultimately, there's ways you can. There are extreme measures you can take. I've talked about this before.
Listen up here.
Go to the Financial Accounting Manual for Federal Reserve Banks. You can Google that. It's online. It's a public document, section 2.10. Treasury Secretary can instruct the Fed to revalue the gold on the U.S. government's balance sheet. 261 million ounces every 4,000 bucks is about $1 trillion mechanically dropped into the Treasury General account, free and clear, no debt offsetting it. $20,000 an ounce is $5 trillion. Yellen could take that $5 trillion, wade into the Treasury bond market, buy back $5 trillion in bonds overnight, increase basically the money supply by $5 trillion overnight. Voila, U.S. debt to GDP.
Wait, you just revalue the gold? Because the U.S. has a ton of gold, right? I mean, it's like the most gold reserves of any country in the world. Yep. It's like, what do you mean revalue it? You could just like name your price? I mean, don't they have to go for a market value?
What's the market? Men with haircuts like mine and guns tell you what the price is.
Men with haircuts like mine and guns tell you what the price is. Yeah, that's interesting. That is very, very interesting. We should look it up. Financial Accounting Manual for Federal Reserve Banks. Secretary of Treasury could just tell them that's what they're going to be doing, make them a full phone call. We're going to be revaluing the gold. Rodwell Nobrega's in the building. Hello, Siege. Oh, money doesn't like new money. Indeed, it does not. Did I stop the share? So that's interesting, right? They can just make it's in this Federal Financial Accounting Manual for Federal Reserve Banks. And he points to the how you find it. It's 2.1.0. 2.1.0. So I thought that to be interesting. So we found that. Let me see if I can. Let me see if I can't find that. Financial Accounting for Federal. Let's see if we can't find that. Financial Accounting Manual for Federal Reserve Banks. There it is right there. Federal Reserve. Now, I don't know how you're going to find, 2.10. He says it's at 2.10. How are you going to find that? Collateral and custodies. It says right there, 2.10. Gold certificate account. Well, let me share that with you guys so you can see it. Nope, like this. Contents 2.10. Gold certificate account 2.20. Special drawing rights. That's good. Can we go there and click on this? The Secretary of the Treasury, gold certificate account. The Secretary of the Treasury is authorized to issue gold certificates to the Treasury banks to monetize gold held by the United States Department of Treasury. At any time, Treasury may reacquire the gold certificates by demonetizing the gold. Treasury maintains an account with the Board of Governors entitled Gold Certificate Fund, Board of Governors of the FR system. When the Treasury monetizes gold, it credits this account in return for deposit credit at the Federal Reserve Bank of New York. When demonetizing gold, Treasury decreases the account and authorizes the Federal Reserve Bank of New York to charge its deposits account. The offsetting entry in each case on the Federal Reserve Bank of New York books is made to the gold certificate account and the United States Treasury general account. The board participates substantially all of the total gold among reserves based on Federal Reserve notes outstanding, with an additional amount allocated to the FRBNY, Federal Reserve Bank of New York, as a cushion to accommodate Treasury sales during the year. So that sounds like that's what he was saying. The Secretary of the Treasury is authorized to issue gold certificates to the reserve banks to monetize gold held by the Department of Treasury. At any time, the Treasury may reacquire the gold certificates by demonetizing the gold. What does demonetizing mean? What does that mean? Demonetizing. Demonetizing. What does that mean? Let's demonetizing mean. That's just a little different. It says to officially stop using particular notes or coins or a particular currency. Demonetize definition and meaning. To stop using as a monetary standard. To stop using, in parentheses, a metal as a monetary standard. To deprive of value for official payment. So that's not the same thing. I don't think that's the same thing as what he is saying. He is saying like a revaluing. I don't know if that's the same thing as demonetizing. You guys tell me what you think. Tell me what you think. I mean, he didn't make this up. He referenced it here. But then this says when the Treasury monetizes gold, so that's the opposite of demonetizing. It credits this account in return for deposit credit at the Federal Reserve Bank of New York. So anyway, this is interesting. The gold certificate account serves as the medium for effecting an annual settlement among the reserve banks for amounts accumulated in the inter-district settlement account. Following the annual settlement, each bank's gold certificate found is restored to the average Federal Reserve notes outstanding through a reallocation of securities in the system. In the system's open market account. Anyway, so I know we've heard in the cryptoverse time and time again about this notion of resetting the price of gold. And I've always said they can do whatever they want. Like, it's not like price resets or resetting gold has never been done. That has been done. That has been done, right? Remember when they confiscated and then, they got all of it themselves and then they decided they were going to reevaluate it, right? Revalue it. So it's not like it hasn't been done before. But what he's saying in the video is that this would, this would be a way of them getting themselves out of the debt that they're in. And if the major nations have a bunch of gold, what is Argentina going to say about it? If they might not have gold? What are they going to do? Complain? What is Bolivia going to do, or Peru? As long as the G7 nations got the gold, G20 probably. What's going to be said? I don't know if that would be something that would have to, everyone, top G7 or G20 nations would have to come to an agreement to do. But what if they all have decided that, this would help with the whole debt thing, and this is the plan? It's very, very interesting. The real big Will's in the building. How are you, bro? What's going on, Contact Fu? The real big Will says, yep, it's been done before. Right? Because I just think, the BRICS nations, I'm just going to say the BRICS nations, but you guys know who I'm talking about. Why is there this mad dash to accumulate all of this gold? It can't be just for no reason. It has to be for a reason. Right? I know, I find it fascinating that the state of Texas just recently reacquired the gold that it had in different places, and they reacquired it. It's in their own coffers now. I also find it very, very interesting that the state of Texas looked to and is looking into their own currency and backing it by gold. I also find it very, very interesting. Think about this for a second, the real big Will. Why are the states pushing and moving to make gold and silver coins legal tender? I just read that article about Arkansas just recently announced that they did that. That was in 2023. That was just months ago. Well, if it was April, it was a year ago. Why are the states doing that? Why is Texas bringing on, decided to bring all their gold back home? And really seriously, I think something's already been proposed as or wrote up, looking to which would be some kind of proposal to make have a currency that's backed by gold. Why got these, 2 or 3 blockchains associations in Texas? Why the mining like that's going on here? Like there's, right? It's like something's going on. And in this video here with Luke Roman, he was saying that a lot of stuff is sneaky. It's like some sneaky stuff going on. They're just quiet about it. In a quiet way. The real big Will says trust will be lost and gold and silver will be used to regain the trust, but in a crypto way, as Judy Shelton said. Is that crypto way like the Fi wallet? Is that crypto way tokenized gold and silver? Is that the crypto way, I wonder? Let's listen to some more Luke here, because again, this struck me as very, very fascinating, this financial accounting manual for Federal Reserve Bank. But again, he said revalue the gold, and this was the thing that gave them the thing to revalue it. I mean, it's kind of like you got to put 2 and 2 together. And like, if it's walking like a duck and talking like a duck and eating like a duck, right? Why the nations, especially, the BRICS nations, I'm not going to mention the countries, but why this? I mean, there's not under wraps. It's not secretly being done. The only thing that's secretly being done in terms of the acquiring of gold by these BRICS nations is the amount of gold. So they're not hiding it. Tokenized, yes, as long as it's redeemable. So Contact Food, the thing that I was saying in the beginning of the video of the live stream is that it's interesting the timing of both the Fi wallet, which is gold and silver on the XRPL, and Meld Gold as well. So it's two projects bringing access, hopping on the XRPL, and giving us access to gold and silver by way of the XRPL. You know what I mean? Just kind of like the timing of that is fascinating to me. Let's listen to some more of this Luke Groman guy, and then I'm going to get into this book, The Great Taking, because I wonder if this is kind of being done underneath our noses and no one's paying attention. So let's see here. What kind of money is that you're saying? On Kind's money? What's that? All right, so where do I want to go? Let's go here. Let's go here. Let's take a listen to this video. Yes. Let's continue listening.
Wow.
It's in the Federal Reserve operating manual.
So there's
There
levels.
you go.
I didn't know the Fed has an operating manual.
Right.
There's a financial accounting standards manual. Yeah. You can look it up, Google it. It's right there. And so, yeah, so what happens is Yellen gets $5 trillion deposited into the TGA, and she buys back $5 trillion in bonds. Boom, overnight. Now the US debt to GDP is, between taking out $5 trillion in bonds and the resulting nominal GDP growth, which is going to friggin' explode because you just increased the monetary base by $5 trillion. So inflation's going to go nuts. Like, that's in the cake. That's going to happen no matter what, because we've done a bunch of stupid stuff with borrowed money for 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 years. So now you end up with debt to GDP 50, 60%. Now you can take rates to 8, take rates to 10. Nasty recession, who cares? You're going to put some private sector people out of business, but who cares? You're not going to threaten the solvency of the US government. They'll be able to pay 10% rates. And I'll be happy to, if you buy back all that debt, I'll be happy to sell my gold at 20,000 an ounce and buy 10-year treasuries at 10%. Great. It's just a wealth transfer. Now, so that's one extreme thing you can do. The Great Taking is an example of another extreme thing you can do. And what I can say is I don't know David Rogers Webb personally. I know he's a former Cleveland guy. I know his firm was once a client of my firm.
That's the author of The Great Taking. Like, what is the thesis of that book? The
thesis of that book is pretty straightforward, and it's very meticulously researched and annotated and footnoted, which is over the last 30 years, US and global policymakers have quietly converted ownership of most financial assets from from legal ownership to, I forget the legal term, but it is basically like a general claim on legal ownership. So that in the case of a too big to fail bank or series of too big to fail banks.
And I'm going to rewind a little bit of that for a second, but just think about what's currently going. Oh, Kinesis money. It's also being done on Kinesis money. Think about this for a second. What's kind of currently going on in our financial system today? Isn't this thing with banks kind of going on today? Right? They're putting it off as it's just kind of the regional banks. But isn't the word on the street really that banks are in trouble? Isn't that kind of what's going on right now, that banks are in trouble? It feels like that's what's going on. So the timing is interesting. And basically what he's saying, I'm going to let you listen to it again. He's basically saying that this has been in the works and they've kind of reworked everything kind of behind closed doors, that legally the stuff that you thought you owned, you don't own. So let me rewind this a little bit.
Legal ownership to, I forget.
Like, what is the thesis of that book? That
The thesis of that book is pretty straightforward, and it's very meticulously researched and annotated and footnoted, which is over the last 30 years, US and global policymakers have quietly converted ownership of most financial assets from legal ownership to, I forget the legal term, but it is basically like a general claim on legal ownership. So that in the case of a too big to fail bank or series of too big to fail banks failing, under the way it used to be, you owned the stocks in your mutual fund. Those were yours. Post these changes, quietly and surreptitiously made over the last 30, 40 years, you don't own them anymore. They now, in the case of a too big to fail bank failure or series of failures, your mutual funds, your 401k, your IRA, your pensions, the paper wealth of this country go into a general collateral pool to bail out the big banks' derivative books first. And then if there's anything left over, you get your 401k back, your IRA back, blah, 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 blah. And with a quadrillion plus in derivatives, the chances of you getting much of any of your assets back on net is slim and none, and Slim probably left town a few years ago. So that's the great taking in a nutshell.
So they just take your assets, just confiscate the paper money.
They already took your assets. You just don't know it yet.
So he's pointing to two scenarios. And one of them is, yelling to make a phone call and say, hey, this is what we're going to be doing. Let the Federal Reserve know we're going to be revaluing all this gold that we have. It's going to cause a major recession. Certain industries, whatever, probably going to go down. Small business America, parts of small business America is going to have some issues, whatever that is. Or they're going to do these big banks that are too big to fail are going to fail, and it's going to be a number of them. And they're going to implement this thing and say that your 401k and your mutual funds and whatever the kind of products that are kind of government related, 401ks, and that would probably mean retirement 401ks as well, wouldn't it? I don't know. I guess they would own that. That's what it's kind of like those two options. That's right, Contact Fu. That's right. Bronson Mass is in the building. How are you, my friend? Contact Fu says a lot of wicked wisdom, deception being deployed on humanity, right? Because, and here's the other part that I say, there is zero chance that the Treasury, Federal Reserve, central banks, the top G7 central banks are today just discovering, and they're waking up and they're like, we can't pay this debt. There's no way that just happened. And I think even if it's 30 or 40 years ago, that they began to see the writing on the wall. Certainly in 2008, they had to have known. That's just, 16 years ago. And surely they have been planning I don't know if we would call it a reset, but they have been having a plan B for a while now. It can't be that they just are discovering that the debt is you can't pay it back. The interest is going crazy. The GDP ratio, the GDP is out of control. Surely they've had some type of plan. And are we getting these little signs and signals with the regional banks going under? Are we getting the signal that, one or two of these too big to fail banks is coming up against it? Are we getting those kind of signals? I think so. And how are we preparing for it? In that video there, I found to be interesting. He says, Ryan Sean Adams says, the whole 60-40 thing is done. That's over with. That 60-40, 60% stocks and 40% and whatever. And he was like, yeah, that is definitely done, because they have like some answers to the challenge, to the problem. And the answers to the challenges and the problem was definitely gold and definitely Bitcoin. It was gold and Bitcoin. Now, it was gold and Bitcoin. I don't know what's going to happen entirely with the digital asset space. And I do know it's going to continue to move on for sure. But I find it fascinating that hugely successful people keep saying the same thing. Dalio, Robert Kiyosaki, Gary Cardone, right? And I bring those names up because those are people who are not, like, they don't have a skin in the game, right? They're not anti-crypto. They're not all in. Well, Gary Cardone is definitely all in crypto, but his success, his wealth was established outside of crypto. Robert Kiyosaki's wealth established outside of crypto. Ray Dalio's, without question, outside of crypto. And those three guys, especially two of those three, they keep saying gold and Bitcoin. That's what they keep saying. They keep saying gold and Bitcoin. Robert Kiyosaki is constantly on this gold and Bitcoin. Now, Gary Cardone is more Bitcoin than gold. I mean, he's becoming all in Bitcoin, but he has gold as well. And so I think the interesting thing about that is going to be, what are those things that you can self-custody in protection of the Great Taking? I'm going to try to pull up something from the Great Taking here. It is alarming. I'm going to read something here and with you guys. This is a PDF version of that book. It's by David Rogers, or David Rogers Webb. If you prefer, consider this a work of fiction, if you prefer, or the ravings of a madman. Perhaps I am crazy. I know that you will not hear what I am struggling to tell you, not yet. But perhaps as things unfold, this writing will offer some explanation of what is happening. By the way, David Rogers Webb is a former successful hedge fund. I don't think he was either the manager or the owner of the hedge fund. And my mind, as I write this, is the small hope that my children might one day come to understand me a little and perhaps forgive me for being who I have been. It has been unavoidable for me to see and know about unpleasant things which are now becoming manifest. Presently, as we well know, families are divided. People are experiencing a kind of isolation, perhaps not physically, but in spirit and mind. This has been made to happen through the dark magic of false news and narratives. This alone has been a great crime against humanity. The tactical purposes are many: to confuse, and divide. We say that on the channel all the time to cause disengagement. You know, if people are worried about different stuff and distracted, and narratives are put out there to constantly keep us distracted, then people aren't paying attention to things that are being done behind closed doors, like this financial accounting manual for Federal Reserve Bank, or like the fact that this is already in place where in case a bank or two that's too big to fail, they have kind of legally maneuvered around that the assets that you thought were your assets were no longer assets, right? Because we're distracted and not paying attention to it, what's going on, right? To confuse and devise, to cause disengagement, right? I don't know, and I don't care. Is Netflix on? To demoralize, to instill fears, and to induce false focal points for these fears. To manipulate the historical narrative, to create a false sense of the present reality, and ultimately to cause people to acquiesce to what has been planned. Facing this onslaught, how can one know anything? Direct knowledge acquired through one's own experience and the personal experience of others may be used to pierce these false narratives. Living memory contains clues. What has been done before can be done again. If exposure to the personal history in this prologue grows tedious, please go to the meat of the matter in the chapters ahead. But if you will continue reading here, perhaps you might discover that I am a human being like you. Perhaps it will be of some use to you to know that I have worked a lifetime to understand the forces hurting us. For me, being known has never been a wise or desirable objective, unless it has been to accomplish some essential purpose. And now my purpose is this. It is to that what I am trying to tell you might be heard and understood. We are in danger. And so I will risk telling you my personal story. Now, this is the prologue. I get it. Let's see if I can come to some heat of the matter, some meat to the matter in this. Interesting. So consequently, by the age of 12, I had become a student of the Great Depression and the mysteries of the Federal Reserve. I knew that the Federal Reserve System had been secretly planned at a meeting on Jekyll Island, that gold owned by the public had been confiscated in the Depression, and that Nixon had recently taken the dollar off the gold standard. This is good. I'm gonna read more of this. Now, let me get back here. But you heard Luke and what he said what the great taking was about. It's very, very interesting. And Ryan Sean Adams in that book, in that thing said, in that interview, a lot of people had been telling him to read it. What's going on, Rafi? How are you, my friend? Appreciate you checking in tonight. The Great Taking. Couple of things just before I forget. If you're interested in reading the book, you can download the PDF and you can get the book from lulu.com. Lulu, Lulu.com. Now, I put this in the Patreon earlier today because I thought it was a very massively important read. I've ordered the book. I went to thegreattaking.com and I ordered it through lulu.com. But you can also download the PDF right there at thegreattaking.com. Thegreattaking.com if you're interested. I'm fascinated by this, and I can't wait to take to read it. I can't wait to read it. Now you can go to greattaking.com and you can download the PDF version and you can just read it right then and there, like I was just reading to you. I probably will spend a good part of the night tonight doing just that because I'm intrigued, and I'm not going to skip the prologue. I mean, I'm going to read that as well. But there's a YouTube documentary on YouTube for those who might want to just to listen to David here. Let me share that. With you guys right here. So there's a YouTube channel called The Great Taking. And this is the guy here. So let me just do this real quick, because I think it tells you his background here. So let's take a quick listen to this.
My name is David Webb. I live in Stock.
Hold on one second, guys. Let me do something real quick. Hold on. Hold on 1 second. I'm going to be talking here. Hold on. You guys won't be able to hear me. So anyway, I did that. All right, let's share the screen again. Let's go here. Let's do this. Here it says right here, David Webb. Okay, so he's a manager. David Webb, former hedge fund manager. So again, let me put the link to the channel for you guys if it's something that you want to listen to more so than read or read. I just finished reading the Price of Tomorrow. I just finished reading this, The Price of Tomorrow, which is very, very interesting. And I've heard a lot of financial analysts, hedge funds, family offices saying that he was right, which is interesting to me. But anyway, let me put the link to that. Where do I put the link? The link right here. Here's a link to the YouTube channel and that particular documentary as well. Let's take a little listen to David Webb, see what he has to say.
Stockholm, Sweden. I'm on a small farm here. It's important to understand I am not giving financial advice. The book I've done has a greater purpose than that. I am not active in the markets. I'm not short the market. I am in things like farmland. I was managing public equities and ultimately hedge funds through the aftermath of the Asian financial crisis, the lead up to the dot-com bubble and bust. And I noticed that fund flows were very large relative to the size of the US economy, for example, or the global economy. So I started to look at the scale of money creation by the Federal Reserve. And I developed the insight that the Fed was actually influencing the financial markets, which no one would be surprised at today. But at that time, it was considered conspiracy theory, even by my partners. This was something I could not talk to people about, but I began studying it myself. And I saw that in individual weeks, the scale of new money created was on the order of 1% of US GDP or more. Now, what that meant, given that the US economy was growing at maybe 3 or 4% in a good year, to have money creation on that scale in a single week, it meant that the money creation was far outstripping any real economic growth. So the transmission mechanism for money creation into real economic activity was breaking down. This is when I started becoming concerned. and started following this closely. And it actually developed into a way for me to navigate the markets. So I applied it and I managed to protect people who I was responsible to as my clients through the dot-com bubble and bust, and did very well through that period, armed with this understanding. But the bigger understanding was that the velocity of money was collapsing. And I knew at that time, this is over 20 years ago, that we were headed into something like the time that the world experienced through the period of the Great Wars and the Great Depression. Because this kind of velocity of money was occurring at that time. So I went into this deeply and studied everything that was happening leading into the 20th century, saw that this provided the best analogous period for understanding what we were entering then. So I have followed this very closely. I have applied it in my work, in what I was doing. So I had an effective understanding of it. The important thing to understand now is that the velocity of money, which is the relationship between economic growth and money, or money creation, money supply, has broken down and is now at a lower level, velocity of money, than it was at any point during the Great Depression and the World Wars.
That is alarming stuff. But doesn't it feel like when you hear that, doesn't it feel like, okay, kind of makes sense? You know, here's the crazy part, Kung Tech Fu. Here's the crazy part. Do you realize that because we're in crypto, just think about that for a second. Because we're in crypto, we are well aware of things like what he's saying, or things like Luke. Because we're in crypto, we could watch the Bankless channel and have him interview this guy, and we can learn about the financial accounting manual, for the Federal Reserve Bank, and the fact that the Treasury can do something like that. And here's the thing. Don't you think it's interesting that it's probably less than 3% or less than 4% of people in crypto? And what do you think the percentage of let's say it's 4%. How much of that 4% is in and on YouTube and on Crypto X and listening to podcasts? How many are really, really engaged on an everyday single basis? So if only 4% owns crypto or is into crypto, and then you got, I would say, half to 75% of that not engaged every single day, watching 2 and 3 videos, spending 45 minutes to an hour on podcasts, completely engaged in the digital asset space, which means there's about 95 to 98% of people that don't have no clue of what's going on financially. Do you understand? Like, there's a lot of people who just don't know. It's a head in the sand thing. There's people who own Bitcoin and maybe Ethereum, they don't even know about other digital assets in crypto. That's right. My people perish for the lack of knowledge, says the real big Will. Indeed. Do you understand what I'm getting at? What I'm getting to? So they're not going to know about the financial accounting manual for the Federal Reserve Banks 2.1.0 that looks like allows the Treasury to connect with the Federal Reserve, and we're going to revaluing the gold. I know we hear it, look, and we probably hear it a lot in the XRPL community. I don't know if we hear it in other communities or not, but we've been hearing about the revaluing, the Great Reset and all of that stuff, right? But a lot of people are not aware. I don't know. The real big Will, did you hear about not one, but two projects coming onto the XRPL, that protocol that can move anything of value in 3 to 5 seconds for less than a penny? We got two projects coming on the XRPL offering gold and silver by way of the XRPL. The XRPL is about to get stablecoin. The XRPL is entering the tokenization of real world assets. It's just interesting to me that we learn about meld gold. This is interesting to me. This is 2 or 3 days ago. It's just interesting to me that we're learning about Phi Wallet, like Sigma Phi Wallet, gold and silver on the XRPL. Isn't that interesting? Small Business Doctors is in the building. What's going on, my friend? What up, Siege? Good catching you, love, bro. Good catching you. I'm sure you say good catching you live. Yeah, I appreciate you being here, brother. The real big Will says, yes, sir. I asked myself why. LOL. Isn't it interesting? I find it fascinating. I asked this in the beginning of the stream, live stream. I'm going to ask it again. How many people feel like they have enough gold and Bitcoin and crypto? Personally, 2017, I remember I sold all my gold and silver for digital assets, mainly Bitcoin, Ethereum, and XRP. I remember. Both of those platforms, both Meld Gold and Phi Wallet, talk about tokenized gold and silver redeemable for the real stuff. We got approximately 25 to 40 states making gold and silver legal tender. Why? Judy Shelton's talking about returning back to the gold and silver thing, but in a crypto kind of way. I'm not sure what else could it be besides tokenized gold and silver that's redeemable. Tech Food says you saw the light 100%. It's just interesting to me. Rodwell Obrega says I have gold, silver, and crypto. Nice, bro. Nice. It's interesting to me. Small Business Doctor says owns a lot of real estate. Did you guys catch David Webb? Did you catch what he said he did back then? I don't know if it was back then or he's doing it now, but he said farmland. He said farmland. Who's a billionaire, multi-billionaire running around buying up all kind of land? Buying farmland. That would be Mr. Gates. I have a good marketing friend of mine. This dude, net worth, I don't know, 20 mil or so. This dude just started buying up farmland. I'm like, why are you buying? The dude just started buying farmland. It's because he's in all these insider meetings, and I'm sure he's finding out what they're doing. I mean, this is a hugely successful marketer. I'm going to put him up there with, no, I'm probably going to put him ahead of, no, yeah, I'm going to put, in marketing terms, I'm going to put him ahead of, who's the big marketer in crypto right now? What's his name? He's the gaming coin guy. Gosh, why can't I remember his name? Big into gaming on crypto. He's on X all the time. What is his freaking name? That's right. They ran little farmers out and they took their land. It's just crazy. And it's like this national thing now trying to, right? What's up with this whole national? I mean, like when I say national, global mandate, what's this whole thing about them trying to get rid of farming under some guise that it's bad for, for the climate and whatever? Is that the way that they're trying to be able to confiscate their land? Feels like it. Feels like, what's the dude's name? Goodness gracious. God, I can't remember his name. But anyway, he's a young marketer. So I would put my guy up in terms of him, in terms of marketing, a little bit higher. But this crypto guy had a 9-figure exit in a tech company that he built, created, and he sold. He had a 9-figure exit. So I'm not sure if my guy got up to something like that, nine figures. But anyway, I can't remember the guy's name. He's like a crazy dude. Can't remember his name. Funny, crazy, can't remember. But anyway, I digress. I just find it fascinating. I find it very, very fascinating. And so how many feel like they got enough gold and Bitcoin and crypto? I know I don't have enough gold. And again, Alex Becker, that's it, Boston Mass. You're good. You're good, my friend. Alex Becker, big time marketer and a tech guy, built a tech company, had a 9-figure exit, and decided to get into crypto. 9-figure exit and got into crypto. Interesting, interesting. But smart. I mean, the dude's young. I don't even know if he's 30. Maybe, I don't know if he's 35, I should say. Young dude, but he's just brilliant marketer. Brilliant marketer. But anyway, my guy was Ty Lopez. Alex learned a ton from Ty Lopez. But anyway, yeah, so this is kind of where it is. I feel like this is preparation. I really, really do. It's time to prepare for some stuff. I was listening to Raul Paul today. He was on a stream with live stream with Arthur Hayes. I guess Coin Bureau has a little thing now, and he's trying to compete with other people. And he had Raul Paul on there, he had Arthur Hayes on there. And Raul Paul was saying, look, by 2032, somewhere between 50 trillion and 97 trillion. 50 trillion to 97 trillion in the digital asset space. Yeah. It's interesting. I wonder what's going to happen. This is a little fun thing. It's a little fun thing. I'm wondering what's going to happen with the new addition of access to gold and silver by way of the XRPL. I wonder what's going to happen to, other ways to get gold and silver that's not on the XRPL. that's promoted throughout the XRP community. I wonder. I wonder. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? um, I wonder, like, what's going to happen? Or will they mesh? Will they mesh? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know, but interesting. It's interesting to find out. But we got two projects. Fi Wallet, I showed you Fi Wallet. They were actually at the, I think they both were at the XRPL Apex 2024, but I think only the person from Fi Wallet got to present. So it's Meld Gold, Q3 of this year, and it's Fi Wallet, like in Phi, Sigma Phi, freaking whatever. Physical coin, Contact Fu says, I just got my Reaper Financial Silver Bullion coin. You got the physical, my friend? Did you get the physical one? Right? So anyway, oh yes, nice. Very good. I know, this is an entrepreneur, trying to make it in the world. Respect to Pat Riley, trying to make it a world, trying to do things on chain, the Reaper Finance, the Ascension, right? That stuff is on the XRPL. It's on the XRPL, just to let you know. Reaper Finance, right? XRPL. But yeah, I think it's interesting. For sure. I think it's interesting. I don't know what Reaper Finance is going to do. Are they going to try to push up their marketing or whatever? I don't know. Are they going to be able to compete? Because they're not getting the spotlight, right? Reaper Finance is not getting the spotlight that Meld Gold and this Fi Wallet are getting, right? Let me see if I can't find that. Let's see if the stupid laptop is working now. See if it's working. It wasn't working so great. Here it is right here. In the past, buying gold and silver, whatever. All right, today our CEO, Essen, whatever, showcased at the XRPL, Fi Wallet. How Fi Wallet is leveraging blockchain technology to make the world's #1 safe haven asset simpler, more accessible, and more inclusive than ever. And if you go to Meld Gold, is that the same one? I'm going to make sure it's the same one. That's not the same one. Meld Gold. I think the Meld Gold guy was actually on stage in like a little panel. I think that was the Meld Gold guy. Thanks for the shout out, Zoomer Oracle. So Meld Gold launched initially on Algorand, and now they're adding the XRPL. Hitting the main stage in 30, representing Meld Gold, talking about the future of RWAs. This is the XRP Apex. So here it is right here. Our founder, Michael, Michael was on stage, is a keynote speaker at this week's, says keynote. So did he present as well? We'll have to see if that's available. Is a keynote speaker at this week's Apex, XRPL Apex, hosted by Ripple, discussing RWA and tokenization. If you spotted this weeks ago, it was a hint to the recent XRPL launch. So I have the thing there. Let's see. Let me go to the block and see if the block has some more stuff. Now, block had like 2 hours and 15 minutes, but I don't know. Let's see if they have some more videos. I think they were recording this from the event, so they don't have it here on the video. Oh, let me do live. Let's do live. Yeah, see, this is all we got. That's the one that I have now. But they weren't, the Meld guy was on a panel. I don't know, he wasn't a keynote speaker, but the Meld Go guy was on a panel. But it looks like the Fi Wallet guy got to actually present. So very soon, Meld Gold will have platinum and palladium as well. Oh, really? But it's, again, that timing of that all is fascinating to me. It really, really is. You got not one, but 2 projects hop into the XRPL for gold and silver. I think it's interesting. I love it. I love it for sure. And I just gotta really weigh the pros and cons of physical as opposed to tokenized. Are there pros and cons to the physical as opposed to tokenized? And my guess is if you're able to spend, you're able to spend. If you're able to spend the gold you have by way of some card, you're able to spend. But it can be tokenized. And what's this redeemable going to look like? If it's tokenized and redeemable, that doesn't necessarily equate to spendable, right? And what I mean by that is, how are you going to spend it? You're not going to be bringing gold and silver to the grocery store, right? In terms of, large amounts, or to go buy a car or whatever. You're going to have some kind of medium to do that, I would think. Is Meld Gold going to have a card? I don't know. Is Fi Wallet going to have a card? It's a wallet. It says Fi Wallet. So let's look at Meld.gold right real quick and see if they got anything. The token, the network about, live artist, convert, contact, how to buy. Suppliers. Crypto hardware wallet is Ledger. Why would that be the case? Get in touch. Join the digital gold revolution and future-proof your business for long-term success. So you're going to have a way to spend it or convert it so that you can spend it. But I don't know what the Fi Wallet was going to look like, or who's going to hook up. My thing is, who's going to hook up with some wallet and provide some better on and off ramps with what your tokenized gold and silver. That's what's going to be the case. That's going to be the case. The Muskegon Aristocrats in the building. How are you, bro? Appreciate you checking in. So anyway, I just wanted to cover that. Look, I think it's worth your time to check out thegreattaking.com. Thegreattaking.com. I think it's worth your time to perhaps download the PDF. And at the beginning of thegreattaking.com, it gives you 3 options. You can download the PDF. You can go to lulu.com and purchase the book. If you want to do that as well, you can go to the YouTube channel and listen. Let me put that link again. But this is Generational Wealth Wednesday, and we got to be able to prepare for generational wealth, right? And so, man, it feels like this is perfect timing to do another Generational Wealth Wednesday that's kind of tied around gold and silver. Contact Fu says, download The Great Taking while you still can. Oh, you know, it's an interesting point too, Tech Food. I found it very interesting that it was extremely difficult to find and get that book. Maybe he didn't put a lot out there. Maybe he self-published. I don't know. Every time you click a link that Amazon said they have it, you couldn't find it on Amazon. eBay was all the UK. Everything was from the UK. Again, another thing I found interesting. Everything on eBay had to come from the UK. I found that to be fascinating. But again, thegreatteching.com is going to give you two options to get the book, and you can download the PDF there as well. That's the YouTube channel with David Webb himself, if you're more of the kind of, the audio or visual. But I wanted to share that with you guys. I thought it was, the perfect time to kind of do that. I'll ask again, do you feel like you have enough gold and Bitcoin and crypto to prepare for the great taking, to prepare for if they happen to implement the federal, what is it called? The Financial Accounting Manual for Federal Reserve Bank 2.1.0. And if they implement it, do you have enough gold to take advantage of a revalue? I'm asking. I'm not telling you to go get gold or to get crypto. I'm just asking, do you feel like if they revalue that thing and they 20x'd it from where it currently is, do you have enough to benefit from it? Or would you be behind and now getting it, you're paying more than what you could have paid now? This is what I think about. Oh, bald silverback. What's going on, my guy? Is that bald silverback? I think that's what it is. I have gold, silver, and crypto and stack more every month. Nice. It's very, very nice. It's interesting. Where are you getting your gold and silver, if you don't mind me asking, bald silverback? Where are you getting your gold and silver, if you don't mind me asking? Back in the day, I used to use was it AppMex? I think if I want to get some physical, I probably will use Miles Franklin. Sad bullion and a local dealer. You just go to your local dealers. I got you. Oh, SD bullion. I don't know if I heard that, but I hear you. Local dealers for sure. But you see what I'm saying? Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting. I know we certainly gotta up the cash flow to turn the dirty nasty fiat into some more stuff. And when Moon, we will have to reallocate to gold and silver because we sold all our gold and silver. But if there's a shot and it feels like, what if they both happen? Like, what if both things happen? What if the Treasury does say, this is what we're going to be doing, they have the power to do, and we're going to be revaluing gold? And what if they do the great taking as well? It feels like a good preparation for both of those is gold, Bitcoin, and crypto. A good preparation in case they do it. Because we're in the know. We're in the know. We know about the regional banks. My dudes don't know about Silvergate Bank going down. They don't know anything about Fit 21's about to, change the game. They don't know. Like they don't know. Do you understand? Well, 95 to 98% learn about this revalue thing 2 weeks before and not have an opportunity because they don't get paid for 2 weeks later. And now the gold that they could have bought for 1,000 is 20,000. Is that going to happen to about 95 to 98%? And I'm just putting that out because he said, you know, if they could revalue at 10x, they could revalue at 20x, they could revalue at 5x. I don't know. They can revalue to whatever they feel like they need to say, look, we're not, this is what we need to revalue, to get rid of this debt. There's one nation that just kind of can't go down. And so if this is an easy way for them to do that, Contact Food, 1,000%. And that's what I just read in that prologue from David Webb. He said they purposely put you into divide and conquer and disengagement, disengaging. That's why I joked around and said, what they say is, you know, Wi-Fi on, Netflix, is Netflix still good? That's kind of it. It's kind of it. Well, I know for us, we're going to have to allocate, you know, some of the wind moon to reacquiring gold. It's just no question. It's going to have to be done. And that's the interesting thing. What do you mean by they can't do anything to anyone without your consent? What does that mean? Is the consent is the lack of engagement. The consent is the opposite of what we did as digital asset investors. We engaged the political arena. I said, no, this is what we want. That political shift doesn't happen if we're not actively engaged. That political shift around crypto doesn't happen if we're not engaged. If they don't do the numbers, and know about the 50 million crypto voters, it's touted around in crypto in 50 million and what is it in Congress. It's interesting. Very, very interesting. So anyway, I'm gonna hop off here, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out. I appreciate each and every one of you guys checking in tonight. For sure, guys. Do me a favor, if you didn't hit that like button on the way in, do me a favor and hit the like button on the way out. That would be super, super cool. We need to get this video, get this channel out to as many people as humanly possible. They certainly need to see this video. There's a new financial system being built right underneath their noses. They don't know about the financial accounting manual for the Federal Reserve banks and the possibility of revaluing gold. They don't know about the great taking and how these government financial products like 401ks and mutual funds, TSPs, probably retirement 401ks as well. Probably, I don't know. Got to let them know. The best way we can do it is hit that like for the channel. And if you happen to be in that 50%, a little less than 50% that are hanging out, listening, watching the Crypto Siege, but haven't subscribed to the channel yet, if you've been enjoying those hangouts, please consider subscribing to the channel. And don't forget to ring that notification bell. All right, fam, look, I'm going to, so that you know whenever we go live or whenever we upload a video, I'm going to end this one like I do all my videos and remind you guys of this. Old money doesn't want you to win. But that's okay, though, because you and I, we're already winning. And I would ask you to consider this, or perhaps ponder the idea or notion of living your life permissionless. I'll talk to you guys soon. See ya.